Well, if this being one of the first district matches in that District of Doom 11-6A between Duncanville and DeSoto wasn't enough to pique your interest, how about Duncanville head coach Reginald Samples looking to make history tonight, becoming the first ever black coach in Texas high school football history to break 300 wins. Now, let's go ahead and whip it around to Katie Ingleson in Denton. Katie?
Let's bring in Ashley Pickle, who is live on the scene there in DeSoto. And Ashley, obviously a lot of storylines going on tonight on the sidelines, but also a very important district game between the sidelines. I'm interested in what you've seen so far from both offenses, which to start the year have been, let's say, inconsistent.
Tep, it's been very interesting so far with this game because you look at it's the fourth week. You think, all right, we probably have enough data to tell that these two historically good programs are pretty good as always, but it really hasn't been that way so far. You take a look at Duncanville. They open up against a California team out of Mater Dei, get an uncharacteristic loss, then they go in, do what they need to do in game number 2. Game number 3 rolls around, and bit of an interesting scenario there with Bishop Sycamore. That game was canceled, so you're kind of going, okay, they've got a bad loss and a good win on a team they should have done, but what really are we looking at here on DeSoto? On the other side of that, they go down to Converse Justin week 1, and you're thinking, okay, they should probably pull out the win here. They didn't. They get blown out by a team that is now 1-3 on the season, hasn't aged well there. They come back, get their 2 next games good on teams that they probably should have beaten. And so we're sitting here going, what in the world can we expect from these two teams? And so far, offense absolutely minimal in this game. As you saw in the highlights there, it's been all defense and then the 199-yarder, but it has definitely taken a minute. And Duncanville maybe from not playing, and DeSoto with that new quarterback in Matt Allen trying to get their feet underneath them. But other than that one explosive play, we're going to have to see some more offense here.
Well, listen, Ashley, you and I both know Coach Samples hates talking in general, but especially about himself. Please tell me you were able to get something out of him about the possibility of doing something tonight that has never been done before.
Aaron, you are so right. It's almost comical when you talk to Coach Samples about what this win means for him. And I'll tell you why it is. Like you said, he doesn't like talking about himself. He's a humble guy that says, no, we're putting this on the team, on the lives that I've impacted. So when you ask him, what does this 300 mean to you? He's going to tell you, well, 300's just a number, and he's not wrong there. What he focuses on is exactly what we talk about, on impacting those players' lives. And specifically, I did get a little bit out of him if he said, if I have to talk about myself, what it says about me is I am committed to this game. I have done the things that I need to do to get to this point and be committed to the game. And on the other side of that, the thing that he recognizes is it's comical because he recognizes that he has to admit that he was the man to break through this barrier. If he can get this win here tonight, 300, the first black coach to ever do it, then he has laid a blueprint out for all of those guys. Just like his son said, it's a lot easier to draw something with a stencil, and that's what Coach is going for tonight. So I got a little bit out of him, but mostly he's focusing on everyone else, as we know, Aaron.
And let's be honest, it would be a bit sweeter if he was able to do it over his arch rival. Just saying. Ashley Pickle with updates from that one all night long. Ashley Pickle, who is she on hand for a doozy? You always get the good ones, though. And for that, I admire you, my friend. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, what have you made of the back and forth battle that this has been, and really the kind of the baton that Duncanville has snatched and run with?
Yeah, man, no kidding. This has been really surprising from what we were expecting. Like we said coming in, there had been plenty of questions for both teams, and so you saw that kind of get going. Now, starting off with the game, I mean, those DeSoto defensive backs, they're always fantastic, but when you have Devin Bobby and Cameron Mathis out there, they showed that they were ready to come play tonight. They were dominant in the backfield. They were getting some picks that gave DeSoto an opportunity to give that young offense the chance to go down and be explosive. That's how they went up 14-0 clearly. Then Reggie Samples looked and said, you know what, I think it's time we get going here. And so with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, you see them just start going. 21 unanswered points. And what we can see here from Duncanville is it took them a while to get going, but once they did, the train has been on the track since then. Now, coming out in the second half, we expected a lot more scoring. There really hasn't been that. It's been kind of a lull, which of course means between these two teams, this fourth quarter is just destined to be insanity, guys.
Ashley, I want to ask you about the guy who's been the workhorse for this Duncanville team, and that's Malachi Medlock. You know, they're still figuring out the passing game there in Duncanville, so they're asking a lot of the running game. What have you seen from the Duncanville running back Medlock?
He has been exceptional tonight, and right when they needed someone to pick up the slack, to say, guys, we have got to start letting them dictate what we're doing in this game. Those defensive backs, we have to quit. We're going to get this ground game going. When you're up against that with a quarterback that still looks a little undecisive in Solomon, you have got to turn to your running back. Now, this is a guy that transferred in from Odessa Permian in 2019. Obviously, last year, a little bit of a weird situation for Gestures Broadly, the entire world. But Coach Samples told me earlier this week, he said, man, this guy's got it. He said you can see it. His vision is great. He's a hard, tough runner, and we've seen just that tonight. So right when Duncanville needed someone to step up and say, you know what, if we're going to get this done, I'm going to be the man, Medlock has done that so far with a passing game that just hasn't quite developed into what we all know Coach Samples would like it to be. So quite impressive from Medlock here tonight, Tup.
He is, at this point, I mean, he's 2 quarters. He's one victory away from becoming the first black coach to reach 300. Ashley Pickle will be on hand. Something we have never seen done before in Texas high school football history as he becomes the first black coach to win 300. Ashley Pickle is with him.
Coach, with this win tonight, you not only become the 13th head coach in Texas high school football history to earn 300 wins, you also become the first black coach to do it. I know 300 is just a number to you. What of an honor is it to be able to do this and be the man to break down this barrier and to lay the blueprint for the rest of the young coaches that look up to you?
Well, I am honored, and it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work and good players and a great coaching staff. But one thing I do want to say is I'm proud of the coach part, not just the African-American, the coach part, okay?
Coach, I know that you became a coach watching your uncle, Coach Rowland, be able to be down there and show you what it's like and how special this industry is. I know he's not here anymore, but what do you think he's looking down saying tonight?
I think he'd be proud of me. He's trying to make me tear up. I said, all right. No, he'd be proud. He'd be proud.
And then, Coach, for your team to come out here in a rivalry game on their home turf and to come out and get an emphatic win like this, what does this say about your Panther squad?
Well, we knew we've been pretty good all along. We just had some not believing each other problems, and we've been talking about it. Stay together, be a family, and we started it tonight. We didn't give up. I was proud after 14-0.
Coach, congratulations, and go celebrate with your team.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
The witness to the history for us was Ashley Pickle.
To fans, he's Duncanville's head coach, Reginald Samples. To players, he's a leader of men. To coaches across the state, he's the godfather of this great sport. And tonight, that name, Reginald Samples, is a name that'll be etched into the history books as he becomes the 13th Texas high school football head coach to earn win number 300 and the first African-American coach to do it. A task that he says the only words that really matter there are the word coach.
Well, I am honored, and it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work and good players and a great coaching staff. But one thing I do want to say is I'm proud of the coach part, not just the African-American, the coach part.
And in typical Coach Samples fashion, after that whole ordeal was done, all he wanted to talk about was the way that his team performed in their first district game.
We knew we've been pretty good all along. We just had some not believing each other problems, and we've been talking about it. Stay together, be a family, and we started it tonight. We didn't give up. I was proud after 14-0.
And while this might be just another notch in the win column for Duncanville, the effects of this game and the history made here tonight has ripples across Texas high school football as a whole.